This is ESBR Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Elliot Grigg as we are doing our final predictions for the huge fight in the super lightweight division on Saturday night from the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. We are, of course, talking about Regis Prograis against Devin Haney for the WBC World Super Lightweight title. Prograis, obviously the champion, having beaten Jose Zepeda and defended it last time out against Danielito Zorrilla. And Haney, obviously the former undisputed champion at lightweight, now daring to be great, moving up to the super lightweight, daring to be great, aiming to become a two-weight world champion. Elliot, this is a fight that I think as it's got closer, I've got more interested in. I'm not too sure about you, but yeah, what are your general thoughts on this fight, and are you excited?
I'm excited, Paul. I'm excited. My general thoughts are that, like you say, I think it's in some ways this is it feels weird saying it, but it's almost, to my mind, a kind of underrated or underplayed or downplayed kind of super fight in some ways. You know what I mean? I almost feel like Regis Prograis doesn't necessarily get the respect that he probably deserves due to that fight with Josh Taylor. But I feel like this is actually a really, really live fight, something I'm really excited about seeing. Again, like you, the nearer it's got, the more excited I've been. Frankly, I've seen obviously a lot of the stuff going on the socials. A lot of the chat between the both boxers has been engaging, has been compelling. And I actually feel like we'll come to it obviously, but I feel like my prediction has become harder. It's been harder for me to predict this fight actually the nearer it's got than when we did that prediction preview show. What was it, a week or so ago? Where we were both, I think, of the mindset that Devin Haney would win on points. I'm not going to say what my prediction will be for this one now as we get nearer, but I think it's become a lot harder to make that prediction confidently.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm enjoying I've enjoyed all the pre-fight build-up, press conference, the kind of back and forth. I really liked the angle that Regis Prograis came from was brilliant, wasn't it? The whole, oh, Devin Haney, you lost at the start of your career, but you paid someone to wipe the loss off your record. Really interesting and a massive claim from Regis Prograis. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably a load of rubbish, and it's probably just to try and get in Devin Haney's head, but interesting nonetheless. You don't really hear things like that in the build-up. You normally just your usual back and forth. But yeah, I think that kind of intrigued me. I think I agree with what you've said, mate. I think, the closer this fight's got, I'm not saying that more people are backing Prograis, but I think that they're realizing that it isn't going to be as perhaps one-sided as some people are making it out to be. Yes, Devin Haney's obviously 30-0, undisputed champion lightweight. Beat Lomachenko last time out, but was contentious. So, some people are thinking maybe he didn't deserve to win that fight. On the flip side, you've got Regis Prograis, who some people think he perhaps lost his last fight against Zorrilla, but was that perhaps a lack of motivation? And did he know this fight was coming and it was just a matter of getting through a fight against Zorrilla, who, let's be honest, wasn't a big name. It was just kind of hard to motivate himself for. All these questions, I suppose we don't know the answer to until fight night. But yeah, mate, I'm really interested in this fight. Really intrigues me. I think, obviously, without mentioning your prediction, do you feel that this is a fight where if Haney wins, it's on points, and if Prograis wins, it's via stoppage?
Yeah, I think that I do definitely think that if Haney wins, it would be on points. I think that Prograis for me, I think it'd be almost a bit of a disservice if I say he's simply just going to could simply just win by knockout, and if he doesn't, he'll lose. But I do feel like the knockout could come. Like we've seen Haney hurt before, have we, in fights as well, and obviously he's come up a division here. And like you mentioned, some of those names, let's not take nothing away from Devin Haney, like you say, like to be champion down there, lightweight division. But you look at like very close fight against Lomachenko. Some people thought he might have lost that fight. Kambosos Jr., to be honest with you, Kambosos Jr. to me is a fighter that's not necessarily in the class of some of the other names that I mentioned around there, but he got the belts by beating Lopez. Not to take anything away from him, I just don't necessarily think that he's necessarily on that level with some of those guys. And obviously you look at like Linares, obviously at the stage of his career as well. So I almost feel like Haney, he's fought people at the right time. And I feel like fighting for Gray here is 34 and not necessarily at the right time. I feel like he's still got a lot to give Reggie for Gray. So for me, this is a really live fight, and I do feel like the knockout could come. But I also don't want to sit there and go, Gray can't outbox him, because I think he can, even though he'd be giving away some reach at that weight. But he'll still obviously be the bigger man who's used to fighting in that division. So I think there's a chance for that, but I think there's minimal chance. It's a no chance that Haney with his 15 KOs and 30 fights will knock out Reggie for Gray, frankly. So if he's going to win, he's going to box 36 rounds. For Gray, I think it's got a bit of variation in that.
You know what? It's very interesting what you've said there, and I do somewhat completely agree with what you've said. The only thing I will say is I do think if Devin Haney is to win, I'm not saying I will come to our predictions later, but I think if Haney is to win, I do foresee it being on points. However, an interesting caveat obviously is that he's up £5 now. The old, you don't know how he'll take a shot at 140, but you also don't know whether the extra £5 and not depleting himself right down to 135 could actually benefit him in the sense that he might carry more power. So, that's kind of an added caveat to the fight that I hadn't really thought much of
Mm.
until fight week, really. But yeah, Regis Prograis as well, saying that he's got a puncher's chance is kind of dismissing his boxing ability and the fact that he's a two-time world champion and got to the final of the World Boxing Super Series and put up a great fight against Josh Taylor. It was very, very close. Some people even did have him winning, maybe even a draw, but didn't get given it on the scorecards, of course. Elliot, we'll do our predictions now. And then there's one question I want to ask you after predictions, but how do you see this going then on Saturday night and at the Chase Centre? Sold out crowd. Who's going to win? Is Haney a two-weight world champion at the end of the fight, or is Prograis handing the Dream his first defeat?
Oh, I flip flopped on this, Paul. I have genuinely flip flopped on this. I've genuinely gone between Prograis stopping Haney like relatively late or Haney getting him on points. And we went initially with Haney on points, and I'm gonna stick with it. But to be honest with you, I still think it's a kind of 55-45 prediction. To be perfectly honest with you, but the reason I'm sticking with it is actually from what you touched on there. We've seen Haney look almost green at weigh-ins previously, looking just so ill and like drained. I actually feel like we're talking about him stepping up. But I actually feel like it might be the best thing for him as well. That like he's going to obviously carry more sort of resilience and durability, and I think this is really a chance for Devin Haney to show just how good he is. I can see Haney on points, frankly, as being my prediction. But I don't actually really like Reggie Prograis, and if Reggie Prograis was to get the knockout and was to get the victory, I'd actually be happier. But I just think Devin Haney for me on points is what I'm sticking to. How about yourself? Are we agree? Do we disagree?
We are agreeing, and like we did in our weekly preview, and like I did with Niall and Thomas in the big fight breakdown. However, I'm sticking with my guns, and the more the fights come closer, the closer the fight has come, the more I'm actually confident in this. I think Devin Haney will win on points, but we'll have to come through some adversity. I think Devin Haney will have to get off the deck to win here. It wouldn't surprise me if Regis Prograis, knocked him down, let's say around 3, 4, 5, kind of first half of the fight. There was still enough time left for Devin Haney to, take over and win on points. Maybe because of the knockdown, it'll be closer on the scorecards than perhaps I had literally thought. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Devin Haney to win a relatively close decision after coming through adversity and being knocked down. Final question just before I finish it up. Elliot, give me your answer in 20 seconds. Winner come Sunday. Who do you want to see them fight next? Is it Ryan Garcia? Is that a potential fight that you'd like to see? Is it someone like Jack Catterall or Teofimo Lopez? Who do you want the winner to fight?
Thank you very much, Paul. It's not Jack Catterall. No, it's probably Tio Lopez. I want Tio Lopez to sort of have another go, to have go in there. I think like he's obviously shown incredible boxing ability. He's had a bit of a dip. He seems to be almost one of those guys that's in that conversation, but seems through his own kind of wacky personal life not to be as included as he should be. I don't want to see Ryan Garcia in there, frankly, after what Ryan Garcia has fight recently and the way he sort of downplayed that tang loss. I'd much rather see those sort of guys fighting each other, to be honest with you. I'd like to see even Loma in the bill somewhere. Obviously, I know that Haney's fought him, but those sort of guys, Loma, Tang, Shako Stevenson, Tio Lopez, those sort of names is who I want to see, and I'd love to see Reggie Prograis next. I think Reggie Prograis, versus Lopez, for example, is a hell of a fight.
Yeah, mate, I agree. I think the two names that stick out to me are Teofimo Lopez, obviously because that's a unification fight at super lightweight. And depends what Haney wants to do. I don't see him moving back down. So I don't really think that we'll get the likes of the Gervonta Davis or Lomachenko rematch or anything soon, unless one of them move up to super light. So it's more than likely, I think, going to be. I want to see Teofimo Lopez just for all the belts. Ryan Garcia is a fight that interests me in the future, but not right now. Maybe he would be even bigger if he was to go and get a world title somehow. But yeah, thanks very much, mate. I enjoyed that one. That was our final predictions for Prograis v Haney on Saturday night. Definitely let us know your thoughts, guys, on how you think the fight will play out. Will it be Haney? Will it be Prograis? Let us know your thoughts. And yeah, check out plenty of other content on the channel. Elliot, thanks very much for joining me, mate, and all the best.